Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. It's another of those special shows. Thanks for watching, and we want to get as many of your comments on this as ever. You'll have seen in one of the previous videos we've talked about Leicester's best ever team, best ever strikers, best ever manager, all that. Today, we're taking it right to the other end of extremes. We are going to be talking about the worst ever managers for Leicester City. Now, this is going to be a two-parter video. We're talking about the bottom, well, we're talking about the managers who finished 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th worst. So look out for the second part of this video, which will be coming out shortly. Now, I'm going to bring in Jamie all the way from the Fox's Arms to talk about Leicester's worst ever managers. Jamie, hi, how are you?
Phil, you all right? We've seen a few bad managers in our time, haven't we? As old schoolers, I've seen a few bad managers. This is quite interesting, this is.
It
I
is.
had to, there was a lot of votes coming in, and I had to do the top 10 from 20%. So anyone under 20% hasn't made the list because there was that many. A few that did make the list, they'll finish below 10th, was Gordon Milne, Brian Hamilton, Sven-Göran Eriksson. Even he made the best manager, and he had a percentage less than 20% as well. Rob Kelly, Dave Bassett, and even Shaky made it as well. Craig Shakespeare made the bottom, below 10th.
Luckily, we don't have to argue about those because they weren't in the worst ever managers. Shaky,
I have to stop it somewhere.
Yeah, you've got to stop it somewhere. I don't know the results of this, Jamie. You've kept it secret from me, so I'm always excited because I don't know who's going to be in this. So we're going to start with the 10th ever worst Leicester City manager.
The 10th ever worst manager is. He came in December '94. He only lasted a year. He managed 51 games with a win ratio of 31.37%. It's none other than Mark McGee.
Mark McGee. Oh my goodness.
That's a glum face, that, isn't it?
That's a rough face. Mark McGee, 10th. Now, listen, I remember Mark McGee. He came in with a bit of a fanfare, and I actually thought he did all right for us, Jamie, at the time. Now, my memory of Mark McGee is how dare he leave us to go to Wolves at the end. But I actually thought while he was with us, he was all right.
I think he was playing a lot of McGee ball. Tried to pass it around a bit more, didn't he?
Passing football?
Passing football back in the day.
Passing football?
Back in the day in the Championship. Yeah, very progressive, weren't it?
What was his win ratio, you say there, Jamie?
His win ratio was 31.37% out of 51 games. He lost 21 games out of them 51 games. So, yeah, I think it's because he left under, I wouldn't say under a small cloud, was it? It was quite a big cloud he left under, wasn't it?
Well, we could sing the Mark McGee song, but it probably would get us X-rated. Even the first word is not great, is it?
No, it's not. We can't even call him by his nickname neither because it's not politically correct anymore, is it? But yeah, so number 10 is none other than Mark McGee, who came from Reading in December of '94 and only lasted a year.
I mean, Jamie, with that win ratio, and like you say, my understanding was when he went off and went to Wolves, it was a sort of step up. He was poached by them to go upwards, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what he thought, but it didn't work. I don't think he lasted there very long, did he? I sort of lost track of his career after that. I think he only lasted a year or so, maybe 18 months. But no, it didn't work for him at all there, did it? And he just fell off the scene completely. Didn't really do anything else, did he? I don't even know where he went after that. Do you, Phil? After the Wolves?
Well, by the looks of this photo, I'm not sure, Jamie. He ended up at the pub. He would certainly be up there in the Leicester's most vilified ever managers, mind you. So would Brian Little at the time, but who obviously was in our top.
He made the good managers list, though, didn't he?
Yes, well, he was a good manager. That's why. So Mark McGee was number 10 there. Fair enough for that.
Mark McGee was number 10. Number nine. He came from MK Dons in May of '07. He only lasted till August of '07, but he had a win ratio of 50%. He had a win ratio of 50%.
Of how many games?
Manager, 4.
Yes. God.
One of the four, and he won 2, lost 1, drew 1. It's none other than the old mad dog himself, Martin
I was
Allen.
going to say it was. I knew it was Martin Allen as soon as you were saying he only lasted that long. Hey, listen, we interviewed him. If anybody didn't see it, it is on our YouTube channel and our website. We interviewed Martin Allen, and it was one of the best interviews we've ever had. Jamie,
He had me in
wasn't he? He's
tears.
fantastic.
Some of his stories had me in tears. It was unbelievable. It really was. But cracking bloke. But the manager side of it, not too sure about it for Leicester. I don't even know how he's got on the list, to be honest, because what did he do wrong? Really, with 4 games, you can't really tell what he did wrong. But it's just one of them things, isn't it?
I think one of the funniest. I mean, he told us so many funny stories. If you've not watched it, go and watch that YouTube video, which is there. But one of the things he tried to claim that it was partly down to him that the success that Leicester won the Premier League, because I don't know if you remember, Jamie. He said that he'd planted flowers around the training ground that was still there today.
Yes, he took. Yeah, I remember that. He took. He said, "Yeah, I'll have that one. I'll take that one." It was me that won them the Premiership 10 years before. 10 years before.
Yeah, because he planted the
They'll
flowers.
take anything, these managers, won't they?
That brought in a new ushered it. He wanted to usher in, make it feel better, and it was all about that ethos.
It certainly was, but the ethos only lasted 4 games, didn't it? Had a bit of a falling out with the. Was it Mandovic, his manager then? I think. Milan,
Yeah,
was it?
Milan Mandaric. I mean, so
Yeah.
Martin Allen, I think, goes down for me. For me, I don't think should really be in the worst all managers. Just a top bloke and top entertainment. So,
but he only just sneaked in, so that's why, like I say, he only just sneaked in. But we had a lot of votes, and to get over 20% of the votes is a big. Is there, so he's made it. The fans rated him as the 9th worst manager of all time for Leicester City.
Martin Allen, oh dearie me, he won't be happy with that.
No, we better not tag him in this, or else he might not ever come on Leicester Fan TV again.
Yeah, we want him back on again for more
He
stories.
He might be deleting my number from WhatsApp if he sees this. Right.
So we've got Mark McGee at 10 and then Martin Allen at 9. Who's going to be at number 8?
Number 8 is a bit old school, Phil. It's just probably when we started. He came from QPR. It was his first job. He was a quality player for Leicester. It's none other than Frank McLintock. Frank McLintock he had managed 40 games. He only had a win rate of 12.5%, and he lost 23 of those games out of the 40 games he was in charge for. And he was only here from June 77 to April 78.
Yeah, I mean, Frank McLintock, he is just before my time. Jamie, do you know what year he was actually at Leicester? What year he started and finished?
I'm not sure exactly what year, but he was in the first 2 finals, the 61 and the 63 Cup final, and he also dated my mom before she met my dad.
Whoa. You can't just drop that in there. Frank McLintock. I'm trying to talk about his managerial career, and you've just said Frank McLintock dated your mum.
Back in the early 60s.
Hang on. Just keep still, Jamie. Just keep your head still. Tilt it a little bit to one side. Hang on. It's only family resemblance there. Look at that.
Okay, the new Jimmy.
Yeah, no,
I came about when he was back down in London, so no. Nothing to do with me, pal.
Well, there's an inside story we never knew. But as a manager, he was just before my time going down to watch Leicester. I started in 76, so I don't know if he was there in 76. I remember being
June 77.
All being
June
the Bloomfield
77.
boys.
Yeah, June 77 he turned up as manager.
So I would have seen him. I remember it being the Bloomfield boys and like being quite exciting. So Frank McLintock, I've obviously blocked those years out, being probably 6-7-year-old at that time.
Well, he was player for QPR. Literally, he finished playing in the May, and he came to Leicester in the June, and he only lasted 40 games. So it was a bit of a. You speak to a lot of people around that time, and it was really bad watch football that time.
I do know some of the older fans who come on and talk to us do say Frank McLintock would almost be their all-time worst manager. So he's in at 7th, but
the 8th.
Yeah,
8th.
Sorry, 8th. Yeah, a lot of the older generation fans certainly thought he didn't do very well for us.
I know. Like I say, I just caught the very end of it, so I didn't really see much of him, to be honest, which I'm quite pleased about. So I think I've struck him from my memory completely. Even though he could have been me dad, I could struck him memory from my completely.
You've I've completely gone now. The fact that he dated your mum, and now I'm thinking, does he look like Jamie? Is it? It was
10 years before. It was 10 years before my time, pal.
Well, anyway, so number 8, we need to get you get your mum on, maybe.
Maybe not. She's not very internet savvy. A bit like me. Now you know where I get it from, to be honest.
Come on then. We've done 10th,
Right.
9th and 8th.
Right, we're now down to number 7. He came from us. He didn't have a job when he came to us, so that's a good starting point. He only lasted 44 days with us. He was here from September 07 to 44 days later to October 07. It was none other than Gary Megson. He had 9 games and he had a win ratio of 33.5%. Well, 33.33% it was. Won 3, lost 2, and drew 4.
I'm laughing at him, his face, because I don't know who termed the name, but a lot of people called him the Ginger Mourinho at the time. Do you remember that? He was called the Ginger Mourinho. I think that was highly sarcastic, Jamie.
Just a tad, I think. Just a tad. But other thing, I remember in one of his press conferences, he says, what's your for the future? And that he says, well, I'm not too sure. I might only be here for about 8 weeks. Well, he was here for about 6 weeks, and he lasted 41 days. So, and then he went to Bolton, I think it was. Bolton. But Megson had done a good job.
Yeah.
I think it was West Brom. He did a cracking job at West Brom. And then he went to Bolton, did a pretty good job at there. But just 44 days is nothing, is it? 41 days, sorry, is absolutely nothing.
Do you remember, Jamie, if Megson, did he leave? Did we sack him? What happened? I don't remember at the end.
Bolton came in for him.
And obviously Bolton, this was back in, 2007? Bolton were
in the Prem.
fairly decent.
I'm sure they're in the Prem.
Well, they obviously...
I'm almost positive.
They had a period in Europe, didn't they, Bolton, as well, a few years?
Yeah. I'm almost positive. No, that might have been under Big Sam, actually, the European. But I'm sure it was Bolton he went to. Not 100%. See, I haven't. Once they've left, I haven't really checked on the details for once they've left, because once they've gone, that's it. You don't want to know them anymore, do you? But he was only here for 41 days.
Yeah. So again, a bit like we've had Frank McLintock not here long for long. Gary Megson not here for long. Leicester fans really didn't quite take to Megson. It was a funny old relationship, didn't last long. Ginger Mourinho. It's not. I mean, this countdown we're doing, Jamie, is just going to get worse and worse, isn't it? It's not going to get better. You don't want to be in this as it goes higher up. If Megson's at 7, oh my God, who's higher up the list than that?
Who's at 6 now? Who's at 6? Well, this bloke, he came from nowhere again. He didn't have a job. He'd already got sacked from his previous job.
It's not a great theme, is it?
No, it's not. He came in October of 2017. He was here until February 2019. It's none other than Claude Puel, with a win ratio of 37.31%. He lost 28 games and won 25 out of 67 games in charge.
Say that again, Jamie, that stat.
He was in charge for 67 games.
Yeah.
He lost 28 and he won 25. And his win ratio was 37.31%.
Now, I'm perhaps going to upset some Leicester City fans here. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I think a few will agree with me. I think it's utterly ridiculous that Claude Puel is in this top 10 worst ever managers. I genuinely do. I think the guy came in and was given a no-win situation, because he was told, and it's come out that he was definitely told, you're going to have to evolve this Leicester City side from the Premier League winning side into something new. We need the average age, I believe, of the Premier League winning side was way too high, and they were on big wages, a lot of those players. He was told he needs to bring in young talent. He needs to bring the wage bill down a little bit because of financial fair play. And I might upset some fans, but I genuinely think Claude Puel put in the building blocks for Brendan Rodgers to do what he's been doing today. I think a lot of that. Look, if we went through the players, Jamie, who Claude Puel brought in, Yuri Tielemans, there's one. That's a Claude Puel signing. It's not Brendan Rodgers.
No, he had him on loan, but then he got him in. Madison as well, Pereira.
Yeah.
And did he have Soyuncu as well?
I believe he brought in Soyuncu and Benkovic. Well?
Yeah, well, Benkovic hasn't really. God knows what's happened to him, but
no,
he brought in a decent array of players for less than 60 million. I think it was all told.
Yeah,
not bad at all. But yeah,
I don't think he should be in this list, Jamie. I mean, he's in there because the fans have voted for him. I think fans are really harsh on him. The style of football was boring. I mean, even now, this is again, it makes me chuckle, Jamie. If Leicester have a bad game at the moment and we don't, and it doesn't turn on, they don't say Brendan Rodgers had a bad game. They say, oh, it was a bit like Claude Puel times.
Yeah. I understand, but saying that, Phil, Puel only got 32% of the votes. So it was still quite low down compared to some of the others that I'll tell you in a minute. But yeah, he only got 32% of the votes altogether.
Well, it's interesting, and I mean, it's great to see. If you're watching this video, put your comments in. Let us know. I mean, I think it's a good debate whether Puel should be in the top 10 worst ever managers. For me, that's crazy because there's plenty of other managers, as we'll see, who could be in that.
So I stuck up for him right to the very last. It was only in his last game that I had against Palace that we've just beat. That when we lost 4-1 at home, then I thought, right, I've had enough of this. But I stuck up for him right to the very end. But yeah, unfortunately, he's made the fans number 6 in the top worst 10 managers. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Number 6 in the top worst 10 managers.
So we're going to recap over the top 10. So in 10th place, Jamie was. Talk us through it. Do a countdown.
In at 10th place was the Scottish manager Mark McGee. In at 9, coming from London, the old mad dog himself, Martin Allen. In at number 8, an ex-Leicester player, another Scots lad coming from QPR, Frank McLintock. Making the list at number 7, the old ginger ninja warrior was Gary Megson. And coming in at number 6, coming over the channel, was none other than Claude Puel, who sneaked in at 6.
So that's numbers 10 down to 6. So what we're going to do now, Jamie, we're going to have a break there, and we're going to stay tuned for the next video, which will be out shortly, and see who has earned the inevitable reputation of being in the top 5 worst ever Leicester City managers.
Who's made the top 5, Phil? Who's made the top 5 worst ones?
Not going to be a list we're looking forward to on there. So stay tuned and come back for Leicester's all-time worst managers, if you will do.